morning and welcome to Kusile Breakfast Show. Smakhulukuthina namhla ekuseni ngikhethe ukuvuka nathi ngolesine lomuhle nalobusisekile at 6 o'clock on the dot. Welcome to the show. Kanti ke ngakhona nokusibukela ka YouTube. Uvela useshe Eswatini TV landvuselako ngulungelele Makagula. It is the 27th of April 2023. Sfiso, good morning. How do you do?
Very good morning Lungelele. I'm doing very well. Ngeva ngawe ukuthi unjani wena lomhla ekuseni. In fact nje ngivuka I'm very energetic and I'm hopeful for the future of Live la Kangwane. Sibuke ama developments sibuka nje ngwenyama ukuthi i7 la seZimbabwe lapho khona ingenele umhlangano lomkhulu we Transform Africa Summit. And I think this is an exciting initiative Lungelele for the region Africa, but as well for Eswatini as sibona ne-ASICOM ihlala iqhuqhutela dona tindzaba ukuthi kufuna lunyawo le-digitalization singathi lunyawo lesishakudelelako. So kuva itolo ukuthi ingwenyama seyetfulile inkulumo yayo yafaka ukuthi Live la Kangwane kufuna lithuthuke kuleti nhlangothi leti, but nje ngicabanga ukuthi umbukeli ezabukela lihlelo lamuhla etindzabeni utawuva kabanti ukuthi silo semhlaba inkosi yemswati ke inkosi yemswati itsiteni lena
kulenkulumo yesikonjalo Sfiso. On the show today at 6 ke sitabe sikhuluma ngema foreign bodies in children. Foreign bodies, something leba stuck inside you but isn't supposed to be there. So sitabe sikhulumisana na dokotela webantfwana tasichazela kabanti ngaloko. A foreign body ke could be something that you inhale or something that you swallow. Ungaba ne foreign body long ayitfola futhi from an injury. Also foreign bodies are more common in small children who sometimes stick things in their mouths. So we will talk more on this with Clinic Group's Dr. Shepard Maforo long dokotela webantfwana lapha eMbabane Clinic. Tasichazela ukuthi ngabe umfana vele uba sengotini lenganani, how much damage does foreign bodies do to the body emfaneni sitabe sixoxisana naye namhla ekuseni at 6:30.
Yeah, kanti ke njengoba lamhla kulisuku lolukhulu mayelana nezaba te-ICT Lungelele, I think njengoba ngishilo ekuqaleni it coincides with the Transform Africa Summit today, the 27th of April. Eswatini Communications Commission, as a member of the International Telecommunications Union, EITU, ijoyina ke umhlaba wonke ku-celebrate i-2023 International Girls in ICT Day. The Girls in ICT program is aimed at creating awareness and to inspire amantombazane lamancane to pursue studies in ICTs in order to bridge i-gap lekhona lebitwa ke nge-digital divide that exists all over the world. Tanya Butler, who is the Support Services Director for the Girls in ICT program within the Commission, Eswatini Communications Commission. 7:30, she will join us at 7:30 to speak about the program. Then at 7:45, Balindile Masilela of Emandini Boreholes. Umbukeli we Kusile Breakfast Show should know by now what every Thursday sibanabo labaqhamuka kumetse group Emandini Boreholes batabenje bakhuluma ngetindzaba letfaye khatsi borehole drilling, the first step to a successful borehole drilling. What are drilling methods lakhona, as well as comparisons of these methods. But Lindile will also, I think, importantly remind us of a competition which engages you as umbukele makhaya and there's a great prize for whoever's going to win the competition. So stay tuned for that.
All right, so it's 4 minutes after 6. Spotlight Jemagete Stabuya and Tinzaba Date. This is what.
Why should we pay our TV license?
The content on our local television is actually more up to date. The industry is enhanced.
It is a criminal offense not to pay your TV license and attracts a fine of 500 emalangeni or 6 months imprisonment.
And the industry is definitely blooming, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what we have for you. But we'll be right back just after the break and we'll give you more of Miss V.
Pay my TV license. That's why I can enjoy the benefits of an enhanced industry and keep track with recent transformation.
Mommy, who paid for a TV license and what are they paying for?
The owners of TV set and gadget with a tuner like DVD set have to pay.
Pay your TV license at NetBank with the details provided on screen. Or use your cell phone via the mobile money pay. You could also visit your nearest post office and pay there. Pay your TV license via Eswatini Mobile Imali. Any TV device retailer can purchase a license to trade. Pay your TV license and enhance the industry.
Kwelamuhla siphinze sikwamukele ehlelweni sibuke nathi tindzaba lapha ekhaya. Silo inkosi Mswati wesithathu sesikhutsate emave ase-Afrika kutsi ahambe ngemgomo wekwabelana tebuchwephesha kunekutsi kuyachudzelana ingwenyama iphefumule ngesikhatsi kuvulwa umhlangano wesithupha wekutfutfukisa livekati le-Afrika kusetjentiswa tebuchwephesha i-Transform Africa Summit edolobheni i-Victoria Falls eveni lase-Zimbabwe.
Ingwenyama emaswati bemcondvo munye nalabanye baholi bemave ase-Afrika tindvuna tembuso tinkampani netinhlangano tetebuchwephesha mhlaba wonke labayingcenye lebalulekile kutelwati kuchumana nebuchwephesha babongcondvomshina nebantfu labangetulu kwetinkulungwane letintsatfu labachamuka kumave langetulu kwemashumi e-Afrika nangephandle kwayo ngesikhatsi uvulwa lo mhlangano. Idzingidveka banti indzaba yekutfutfukisa livekati le-Afrika kusetjentiswa telwati tekuchumana netebuchwephesha lobuhambisana netebucubungula kulo mhlangano lekubhekeke kutsi uphume netincumo letihlolisisiwe tekufukula tebuchwephesha kuleli vekati. Noma kunekukhatsateka ngekulungela kwalo livekati le-Afrika kutsi libambe lizinga lemeve lacocodze kutebuchwephesha kunekwenetiseka kutsi ikhona inchubekela phambili lebonakalako njengoba baholi kufaka ekhatsiso nasilo semhlaba baqhubeka nekusebenta ngekutikhandla ekuletheni tinguquko letawuphakamisa lolu hlangothi. Kube khona ingcenye yemhlangano lapho khona ingwenyama yemhlaba iphendvule imibuto inebaholi labane bengumengameli Paul Kagame wase-Rwanda, mengameli Emerson Mnangagwa wase-Zimbabwe, mengameli Lazarus Chakwera wase-Malawi na mengameli Hakainde Hichilema wase-Zambia. Imbube yemhlaba icelwe kutsi iphefumule ngetaba letingendiwa kude kutsi tebuchwephesha tiletse lubumbano nentutfuko e-Afrika. Silo semhlaba siphefumule sakhutsate emave ase-Afrika kutsi abumbane ahambe ngemgomo wekushiyelana lwati kutebuchwephesha kunekutsi achudzelane.
In the kingdom, we have made strides to ensure our citizens have fast and reliable internet access, mobile connectivity, and we are now working on a digital Eswatini framework which will complement the state-of-the-art data center and call center that is in place. Therefore, it is time for us to focus on technology as a vehicle that can enhance our development, thus bridging the digital divide between ourselves and the West. We need to share technology and not to compete with each other. When African countries come together and work towards common goals, they can achieve more than they would as separate entities. A united Africa can create a more stable and secure environment that encourages investment, job creation, and economic growth. It can also lead to increased political power and influence on the global stage. In recent years, technology has enabled people to communicate and collaborate more easily across borders. With the widespread use of the internet and mobile devices, people can access information, connect with others, and conduct business regardless of their physical location.
Kulo mhlangano baholi bathungele injobo yebandla ngetinyathelo letingathathwa kude livekati le-Afrika lithuthuke kutesayensi nebuchwephesha lokungalenda nekuthi ligcine selitimele lingasalubuki kakhulu lusito lwetebuchwephesha lwakumave angesheya. Lubika kwethu Indzabeni uMsandile Makhanya eVictoria Falls eZimbabwe.
Kanti-ke silo inkosi Mswati wesithathu sithi kuthuthukisa tebuchwephesha evekatini le-Afrika kusidzingo lesikhulu lesidalwa sivinini lothuthuka ngaso umhlaba. Ingwenyama ephefumule ngesikhathi icelwa ukuthi ivunulise emave ase-Afrika netaba letingentiwa kude kuthi-ke bantfu bakuleli vekati bative bayingcenye intfutfuko yalo yetebuchwephesha. Lokhu kwenteke emhlanganweni wekuthuthukisa livekati le-Afrika kusetjentiswa tebuchwephesha i-Transform Africa Summit edolobheni Victoria Falls eveni laseZimbabwe.
With the rapid advancements in technology, it is imperative that Africa as a continent keeps up with the rest of the world. The good news is that we can all be a part of this transformation. Firstly, we can start by embracing technology in our daily lives. Whether it's using mobile phones, computers, or internet, we should make a conscious effort to be empowered to use ICT. This will not only enhance our productivity, but also open up new opportunities for innovation, creativity, and growth. Secondly, we can support local startups and businesses that are developing innovative technology solutions. For an example, in the Kingdom of Eswatini, we have a Royal Science and Technology Park, RSTP, that is providing training for business startups for our young entrepreneurs. These businesses have the potential to transform entire industries and create job opportunities for thousands of our people. Thirdly, we can invest in education and skills development for the youth. This will ensure that they have the necessary skills to succeed in the digital age and contribute to Africa's digital transformation. Lastly, we can advocate for policies and regulations that promote innovation and digital growth. This will create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive and for Africa to become a global leader in technology. In conclusion, Africa's digital transformation is not an individual effort, but a collective one. Let's all play a part in embracing technology, supporting local businesses, investing in education, and advocating for policies that promote innovation. Together, we can build a brighter future for Africa.
Indvuna yelitiko letekuvakasha Moses Vilakathi seyisukumise ngalokusemtsetfweni iphalamende yebantfu labasha letobuka kugucugucuka kwesimo selitulu i-Eswatini Climate Change Youth Parliament. Labantfu labasha labatawuba kule phalamende bange-24 kanti-ke bavela etfundzeni itotine takuleli pasitfupha sifundza sisinye.
Kungakho-ke kumqoka lokho ukuthi namhla sesinani la ndaba iphalamende letasisita sisephalamende ukuthi asiyibambeni kanjani kuze kwekuthi kungabi nalokushisa lokunyenti netintuthu letiya ledulu. Nako lolo kumqoka kakhulu. Sibeke netinhlelo ngesitizamile silitiko sibuka ukuthi kodwa singayibamba ngakuphi lenzaba. Hawu labasha-ke bebavamise kubaleka. Nineke nyalo. Sengini le ndawo lanzala labanye labasha. Ukuthi nasenda letinto letitsite asitende kanye kanye umsebenzi wethu usebenze nalaba lasebakhulakhulile senbo ambassador. Climate change ayiyati border. Lokwenteka kamakhelwane ngala eSouth Africa, lokwenteka kamakhelwane kaMozambique, konke sekuthelene nalokwethu kusho ukuthi kutawulimata wena nawe. Kepha-ke siyajabula ukuthi sesinale le forum lena letaba khona.
Indvuna yetinkhundla seyibongele sive senkhundla yasenfonjeni ngentfutfuko leyenteke kule nkhundla. Indvuna itsite le nkhundla yasenfonjeni ikhomba kuba lihlahlandlela emisebentini yentfutfuko leseyenteke kule nkhundla. Indvuna ikusho loku emcimbini wekwetfulwa kusebenta kwenkhundla kule minyaka lesihlanu kule phalamende ye-11 lena-ke lephelako lapho beyimelelwe khona indvuna yetemisebenti lemikhulu netfutsa sikhulu Chief Ndlaluhlaza Ndwandwe.
Ikhuluma uma yethula inkulumo yawo indvuna yelitiko letinkhundla lebeyimelelwe indvuna yelitiko lemisebenti lemikhulu nekuthutsa Chief Ndlaluhlaza Ndwandwe ibonge uhulumende wetinkhundla leyithi usebentele ebaleni futsi nentfutfuko layiletsako iyabonakala.
Siyabonga etiko letinkhundla kwekutheni lokusebenta sekuyakhanya sekuhle kuyabonakala. Itolo bowuthi uyefika kuletinye tindzawo ukhanza indlu yavalwa ingavulwa. Nawuthi uyavula la ngekhatsi kwabola emakhulukhulu abosemende bebede ukuthi batosebenta basithuthukise asisathuthukanga nasemende sowubolile nemali yahulumende seyihambile kepha ke nyalo sekuhamba kahle.
Ilunga lephalamende lenkundla yasenfonjeni Sifiso Magagula litsite lokubanika kuthula bangemakhetfa kwekuthi bathi bathunyiwe bakhona kukwenda loko labathunywe kona.
Ukhethiwe lokumnanzi ukuthi akukhethe bese bayagcina kakukhetheni bese bayakuthuma nase bakuthumile lokubuya ubuyise letindvo letiye letiphumelele kulala bakuthumile ngibona lokukunika kuthula. Sithi ke sinaleli bandla bonkosi asitibongele ukuthi senisikhethile ningagcini kusikhetha kuphela ngoba umuntu wakukhetha kuphela wakuthuma usuke bekahlomela thini ngoba nalomunye utavela ukuthi awulibatalala ke le ngani inkinga bonkosi awubese wenda njani awusamthuma. Sithi asinibonge ke bonkosi ukuthi sithe senisithumile senisikhethile naphindze nasithuma lokusihlulile bonkosi awuqhutsheka buzanywe.
Inkundla yasenfonjeni kule minyaka lesihlanu kule phalamende ye-11 lephelako isebente ngalokungenani ngemali lengetulu kwetigidzi letilikhulu 100 million emalangeni kuletsa intuthuko kule nkundla kufaka ke ekhatsi gesi emanti emadibhe etinkomo kanye nemabhuloho kubala kulokumbalwa. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV ngiNkpunkosi Magagula eNfonjeni.
Lihhovisi leliphini Ndvunankhulu lithi kuvikeleka kwemalungelo ebantfu labakhubatekile intfo layitsatsela etulu hulumende. Lawa mavi amabhalane lomkhulu ehhovisini leliphini Ndvunankhulu Melusi Masuku nakuvulwa umhlangano sikolo welibandla lebantfu labakhubatekile i-National Advisory Council for Persons with Disabilities Esibane Hotel ngalesithathu.
Hulumende sewuthumela ibandla lelisha lelatewa ngokuthi i-National Advisory Council for Persons with Disabilities ukuthi linake emalungelo netindzaba tebantfu labakhubatekile licinisekise ukuthi abacindzeteleki bathole emathuba lalingene nekutsi-ke livu labo liyevakala. Mabhalane lomkhulu ehhovisini leliphini Ndvunankhulu Melusi Masuku uthi uyethemba ukuthi leli komiti litawenda umsebenti walo lelithunywe wona.
The protection of persons with disabilities has been high on His Majesty's government, dating back to the period prior to the promulgation of the Kingdom's Constitution in 2005, and by extension, the Persons with Disabilities Act of 2018. However, notwithstanding, much still needs to be done.
Lobuke lihhovisi laka UNFPA kuleli Margaret Twala uthe nanoma tinkinga lebabhekana nato labakhubatekile kufaka ekhatsi labanelibala tatiwa lelibandla litawuyisebenta leyo nkinga.
Siyabonga nje Deputy Prime Minister's Office Ambassador wami siyabonga kakhulu singumhlangano lo ukuthi nize nisiphakamisele le council. I was looking at the act before I came here. Ngibuka ukuthi umsebenzi wami umcoka kanganani nje in ensuring ukuthi challenges noma ingcinamba debantu labakhubatekile tiyanakekeleka.
Uthi inhlangano yaka UNFPA iyabasekela labakhubatekile. Lota uhora lelibandla ke kuthiwa ngu-Dr. Ngcebo Mbuli. Etindzabeni ngiyongiyani emsebenzini nasimuva Shongwe sisesibane hotel ezulwini.
Inhlangano yakamhlaba lebuka emalungelo ebantfwana i-UNICEF seyisukumise likomiti lelakhiwe ngibo bantfwana nebantfu labasha lelitawubuka tindzaba tebantfwana kule nhlangano. Makhosini Mamba wayo le nhlangano yaka UNICEF uthi babone kutsi akubete tindzaba letifaka ekhatsi bantfwana labatawutikhuluma noma ke labatakwenta bangekho bantfwana.
Chwephesha wetemphilo enhlanganweni yaka UNICEF uthi sebabonile ukuthi abasubavalela ngaphandle abantu labasha etinhlelweni letitsinza bona, kungako-ke kumele babe khona emakomitini latawubuka tindzaba tebantu labasha.
Nangabe sakhatha inhlelo ta UNICEF bangekho bantu labasha ukhanze kwekuthi konke lesikwentako sikwenta kube seceleni ukhanze ukuthi bantu labasha kubaniketa imbambambamba lokhu letidingeko tabo lekufanele ukuthi ngabe tiyanakeleleka. Ngako-ke sabona kwekuthi asakhe libandla lebantu labasha lelitawusisita nasenta tinhlelo lesingabita ngekuthi ngama-programs a-UNICEF kwekuthi labantu labasha sikhona ukukhulumisana nabo.
Inaki Shongwe longumuntu lomusha lolilunga laleli komiti uthi tinhlelo betivaleleka ngaphandle lebebanato ngenxa yokuthi abekho emakomitini abantu labasha bakhanzeke ukuthi bayakhulunyelwa netinhlelo bayasukumiselwa tisale-ke leti lebafise usingabe tiyabonakala tichamuka ngakubo.
Me being in this board actually is just proving to me that whatever those doctors said to me really doesn't matter, because I told myself, or my mother told me and my family told me, that I shouldn't allow lesimo sami lesi to dictate ukuthi ifuture yami tabinjani. And I'm trying, and I take it to my responsibility to show the rest of everyone lofana nami ukuthi whatever situation you're in doesn't dictate how your life goes, or it doesn't dictate who you are as a person.
Leli komiti ke litabasa ofisini isikhathi lesingangeminyaka lemibili. Kobika Kieni Msibinga Simuva Shongwe sise Happy Valley ezulwini.
Fakazi longcwephesha kuxhumana Sihle Nkambule longfakazi waSipho Shongwe lobhekene nelicala lekubulala somabhizinisi Victor Gametse uthi bufakazi lobetfulwa sisebenzise inkampani yetingcingo kuleli MTN Eswatini lobabutfwa etingcingweni tambe kwacala abucithwe ke njengaloku badokotelwa. Nkambule ukusho lokhu ngesikhathi umbuso umbuta ngebufakazi bakhe labetfula kule nkantolo esikhatsini lesengcile.
Lofakazi wemsolwa Sipho Shongwe uthi ubufakazi lobetfula sisebenzise inkampani yabo mahlala ekhikhini kuleli MTN Eswatini abucithwe bungavumeleki kuleli cala. Lofakazi uthi lucwaningo lwalento alikhomba ukuthi lisuku kanye neminyaka lokwabuthwa lobufakazi ngawo etimbolweni telincingo ta Shongwe akhambisana naloko lokwetfula ngolobufakazi wembuso. Ufakazi Sihle Nkambule uphinze wakhala ngekuthi umbuso wehluleka kubanika imininingwane leyabuthwa kucala. Uthi lokhu kukhomba ukuthi lemininingwane yesibili leyabuthwa ngeminyaka wa-2019 bese ikatse inongiwe. Nkambule uphinze wangeta ukuthi ecaleni la Shongwe bekatsheliwe ukuthi lemininingwane le nguleyo yekucala i-original, kodwa nase kucathaniswa kwase kuyavela ukuthi akusiyo konjalo. Ummeli wombuso Michael Helens uthi akusiyo imfihlo vele ukuthi lemininingwane leyanikwa Sipho Shongwe nguleyo bese ibuthwa kwesibili. Uphinze futhi wahlaba lochwephesha ngekuthi wehluleka kucathanisa imininingwane lebekathe ingebuchwephesha kanye naleyo lebekathe ibhalwe phansi. Lenzaba isembi kwelijaji lenkantolo lenkulu uNkosinathi Maseko ngesikhathi kuhlanganiswa lombiko belisachubeka nekutekwa lelicala. Etindzabeni kubika Fortune Dlangamandla ngisenkantolo lenkulu.
Sekushone umuntu munye esigabeni selJericho lelinyenyetela abanye bazalwane ngapetrol esonveni lemaJericho lasemanyeveni ngelisonto. Labanye solo baselashwa esibhedlela.
Sekushone umntwana lonetinyanga letilishumi nesiphohlongo esigigabeni selisondo laseJericho emanyeveni lapho umzalwane anyenyete labanye bazalwane ngapetrol avuka ngumoya elisondo lesisuka kulo. Bazalwane belibandla leJericho bebaholwa ngumengameli wabo Bishop Khanyakwezi bavakashele labanye bazalwane kuyobagcinisa ikakhulukazi labo sesibhedlela labalimala kulesigigaba. Umbishop Khanyakwezi ubancasitele balimele wathi nabo ke bali bandla baseta ukwenda luphenyo lwabo ngalesigigaba.
Sishaqe kakhulu kuswele emlomo ukukhuluma ukuthi ngathini lengakubeka nje ngaba kulila nathi isonto lemaJericho kulesehlangano sithi khalele kakhulu silele imndeni yalesive lesivele lesehlangano nathi lesizivile sashaqisa likho kakhulu lokwenda nje sibona nathi sitsabukile kwaba buhlungu singathini nathi sisetokuva kahle ukuthi kwendeke njani emanje siphila ngawo emanje vele siphila ngawo ayasebenza nathi bekushaqise kakhulu ukuva lokwa-petrol. Petrol abesakuphi njani. Siyeva-ke abantwana kuthi nasesiva sisesha nathi ukuthi bebabeketa igubhu lapha kunesigubhu semandi napetrol. Wathi uthatha lesigubhu lesi uthi semandi kanti sapetrol. Nathi sethuka bese setawulanzelisisa kahle nathi sive nomthetho olisondo ukuthi kwendeke njani. Sibuka ukuthi kudlapha yini makwendekeni.
Laba sesibhedlela-ke kungimanje ngakulimala kule ngodi bangamashumi 20. Lokhulumela emaphoyisa Superintendent Phindile Vilakade uthi nabo-ke bamaphoyisa basatawuqhuba luphenye lwabo ngalesigigaba. Etindzabeni ngingiyani Msibi ngisembabane.
Tingetulu kwama-30 futhi imbuti lekusolakala ukuthi itebiwe ngempelasonto ekhaya kaMabuza endzaweni yakashoba. Ngekusho kwalogadza imfuyo kuleli khaya Sabelo Magagula, timbuti tanyamalala setise ngaphandle kweligede.
Bashiye kukhala libhungane esibayeni kaMabuza kule mpelasonto lesibuya kuyo ngesikhathi kunyamalala timbuti letingama-37 ngetithuba tantsambama. Ngekusho kwalogadza imfuyo ekhaya kaMabuza Sabelo Magagula, timbuti bese tingaphandle egedeni ngekuphathima kweliso tabese tinyamalele.
Sonto savele okay sasuka sonke la ekhaya sathi bathe siyafuna kude nani sabathe nani tiningi kakhulu inbuti. Hayi le nbuti nangibuka make badeba bathatha ngoma ngendlela etiningi ngayo atikwadi betingakwendi futhi nekungabuya ekhaya ngoba kwekuqala nje into nje tibuyela nani ngabe njani lala la egedini kuvula igede ningene ngekhathi lokukhona mina ngakubuka badeba make kude lokungenteka kanje.
Magagula uthi nanyaloso lo baseshaqekile njengoba into lefana nalena abatangese bayibone uthi-ke bayachubeka nekutifuna letimbuti. Baphindze bacela ukuthi lonelihala angabathinza enombolweni lethi 76038764. Emaphoyisa awukhuta ngelivi lelicinile lomkhuba wekwebiwa kwemfuyo. Umbiko uhlanganiswe ngithembelihle Magutshwa kashoba.
Kutemidlalo emaqembu lahlukahlukene ladlala ngaphansi kwe-Netball League sekacalile-ke kulungiselela isizini lensha. Lomsakato uvakashele emaqembu lamabili lokuyi-RSP kanye neMbabane Raiders lapho khona abaqeqeshi balamaqembu bachazile ukuthi kushesha ucale emalungiselelo kusita ekutholeni badlali labasha labatabasebenzisa kule season. Letako inhlangano lidlalisa umdlalo we-netball seyivetile ukuthi isizini lensha itawuqala ngenyanga yenhlaba.
Kusalungiselelwa isizini lensha ya 2023 emidlalo ye-netball, amaqembu ahlukahlukene achubeka namalungiselelo. I-RSP kanye neMbabane Raiders bachubeka nemidlalo yebungane lokuyindlela yekulungiselela isizini lensha. Baqeqeshi bemaqembu lamabili lokungukabinde Chabalala weMbabane Raiders kanye-ke namthunzi Sabethe RSP bathi imidlalo yema-pre-season isita kakhulu ngoba nalabadlali labasha bathola lithuba lekukhomba lizinga labo.
Well, asita labadlali to be active so that nase seqala season yethu ukhanza ukuthi we do not start from scratch. So currently labadlali are gaining a fitness nokuthi babuyele emidlalweni so that singaqalele phasi when season iqala.
Lama games angaba asita nje because ukhanza sikhona labadlali be-RSP lesiba nabo kusita kule social, so kuyasita nabo ukuthi bangaluzi iform ukuthi bahlale basefomini because noma bekucala isizini bakhanze sisolo basefomini.
Bokapteni balamaqembu lamabili nabo-ke bayachaza ukuthi le midlalo ye-pre-season ibasita kangakanani.
They are very important because kwanyalo sisaqala since basic off season, so sisaqala phasi siyajima kubona ukuthi going forward isitowenda kanjani.
Ama plans la khona ukuthi nyalo usibona nje siyadivocavoca zama lokukusemile kube khona lesikwendako, but vele silo la kona ukuthi sikhone nokuqala le league sibe fit bese siyakhona ukudlala sithole lo number 1.
Kusho kwaNtombi Masango longumengameli wenhlangano yemidlalo ye-netball nakuhambe kahle lesizini lensha kubheke ukuthi iqale ngenyanga yenhlaba. Etindzabeni kubika Giyani Msibi na Fabrice Msonera eMbabane.
Tingako ndzabata lapha ekhaya talomuhla sibahlola etimakethe ngesimo selitulu.
Welcome back. Sikuvuselana lothandza kusivulela lamhla ehlelweni. It's a beautiful Thursday morning. Takumneka ukuthi besivitile ukuthi sitabe sikhulumisana na Dr. Maforo Shepherd Maforo from the Mbabane Clinic. Sitabe sikhuluma kabanti about foreign bodies in children. A foreign body is something that is stuck inside you but isn't supposed to be there. It could be something that you inhale or something that you swallow. Ngaba ke a foreign body long ayithola as well from an injury. Foreign bodies are more common in small children who sometimes stick things in their mouths, their ears, and their noses. So in studio we have Mbabane Clinic Dr. Shepherd Maforo, who is a pediatrician surgeon. In studio. Good morning and welcome, Doctor. How are you this morning?
Good morning. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah. All right, so we're talking about foreign bodies in children. Last week we were speaking with Dr. Newton. We were talking about asthma, but I learned quite a lot from that. So I'm hoping that I will learn a lot as well from this interview. Foreign bodies. I think I've just mentioned what foreign bodies are, but we just want to find out what are the common foreign bodies in children.
Children take quite a variety of foreign bodies from things that are commonly around them, like their toys, magnets. They can even put cotton wool into their ears. Even stones, they take all those things. But of all the foreign bodies that children take, the most dangerous by far is if they take magnets, especially if there are two magnets that they swallow, or if they're taking what we refer to as a baton battery. A baton battery is the flat battery that we usually use in the remote controls. That one is very dangerous, and it's actually an emergency if a child takes that battery and must be presented to hospital as soon as possible, because it can destroy the what we term the esophagus, the pathway that moves food from the mouth to the stomach. It can get destroyed in 6 hours. Some children actually end up with no esophagus and they have to be fed through directly to the stomach because of baton batteries.
So how common are these cases with your patients? You did say that they put things through their ears, some through their mouth, such as toys. How big are these toys? How common are these cases that you receive with your patients?
It's a very common occurrence, but I must say the good thing is most of these foreign bodies do not pose a danger to the children. They don't cause any complications. Some of them, they just swallow the object, then it goes down. At times the caregiver or the parent only sees it when the child passes it. But the problem is the ones that cause complications. We have seen children that have even swallowed pencils, erasers, even needles. So it's a common danger lingering around, and it must be prevented.
You must deal with these cases every day. So how do you remove these foreign objects? How long does it take, the procedure?
I must say it will depend on what kind of foreign body the child has ingested. If the child has ingested a baton battery, then that's an emergency. We have to stop everything else that we are doing and concentrate on that child and make sure that the baton battery is removed as soon as possible, because what we are scared of are the complications. The child may end up needing multiple surgeries in their lives. The ones that also swallow magnets, it's also an emergency because especially if there are two magnets, they're at different levels in the intestines. They tend to attract each other and destroy the intestines that are in between them.
So have you had cases like, besides the magnets, besides the toys, have you had cases that like children, swallowing stool or soil or whatever objects that is foreign that have come to your office?
Yes, quite a lot, especially stones. They you swallow them a lot. But the good thing on our part, not on the patient's part, is that with such objects, we have to, if it's a small one, we just follow them up until they pass them naturally. But if they are too big, they may get lodged up in the esophagus, and we may have to take the patient to theater, do what we term an esophagoscopy, and retrieve the stone before it causes the damage to the esophagus.
So you did say, doctor, that that child has to be taken to hospital immediately within 6 hours. So then how much damage is done if, they haven't taken the child to hospital in 6 hours?
The baton battery can damage the esophagus quite extensively, so that by the time you pass 6 hours, the damage can be to the point that the esophagus has a hole in it. So once it has a hole in it, the esophagus is in the chest. So whatever the child is ingesting is going into the chest. Even the saliva and the bacteria in the mouth, in the esophagus, is contaminating the chest. And there are also very big blood vessels around the esophagus. So at times, because this battery has got electricity, so the electricity and the chemicals in the battery may also go affect go in and corrode the blood vessels. So the child may actually die instantly from what we term a fistula between the esophagus and the aorta.
Okay. So what are the ages at risk? Is it children, toddlers, or even younger than toddlers?
The children at risk usually are the ones between 1 year to 5 years. These ones are very active. They will tend to just pick everything that they can get hold of and put into the mouth. And their esophagus is also very narrow, so those foreign bodies tend to get lodged into the esophagus, because the esophagus is the narrowest part of the pathway that the food moves in from the mouth.
So, doctor, we know that children like to play, especially outdoors. Some of them like to play with toys, all sorts of stuff. And also they're inquisitive. If they see something they're not familiar with, they'll try to swallow it or even, smell, try to figure out what that thing is. So how can we prevent them from, swallowing these foreign objects?
The prevention of the foreign body ingestion and putting foreign bodies in any parts of the body, the correct answer is the parents and the caregivers must take away all these things away from the children. The children would not know that which object is dangerous. So it's up to us, the adults, to make sure we take away all those things. If I may make one plea to the parents, is especially the remote control must be away from the children. Even I notice some children now are even playing with toys with remote batteries. That must not be encouraged, because once the children are very inquisitive, you see they want to break the toys, take the batteries off. If they put them into the mouth, it's a very dangerous thing. So we must prevent it. Prevention is always the best thing.
Okay. So what is the emergency management of foreign bodies? Is it possible that I, as a parent, can try to probably take it out of my child, whatever they swallowed or ingested or they put in their ear, or I should just rush to hospital immediately? Can I do a home remedy to my child?
We do not encourage parents to try to take out foreign bodies from their children, because they may end up causing more damage. foreign bodies, we have seen patients that have come with foreign bodies in the ears. The mothers have tried to take them out and end up causing perforation of the eardrums. We have seen patients that have come out who have swallowed some objects. The mothers have tried to make them vomit out by giving them milk or a lot of water. Again, it can cause injuries to the esophagus, and unfortunately for that kind of object, again, it may then move from the esophagus and then go into the airway, which is even more dangerous. So we don't usually encourage the parents or caregivers to take the foreign bodies away on their own. What we can advise is for the child that has taken a baton battery. It has been found recently that if the mother is to give a teaspoon of honey while they wait to go to hospital, it may reduce the damage of that may happen to the esophagus. So a teaspoon of honey every hour is what can help to lessen the danger to the esophagus. Otherwise, everything else must not be done. The foreign body must be just left and rushed to the hospital.
Okay. So, Dr. I read somewhere that sometimes these children can be intentionally fed foreign bodies either by their peers or by an adult. For instance, some children have step parents that do not particularly like them, so they can intentionally feed these children foreign bodies. How often do you receive these cases? Have you received such a case where a children has been intentionally fed a foreign body?
Yes, that can actually happen. It is not very common, but when a baby presents with a foreign body, you have to look at all those things so that you avoid missing and what we term them non-accidental injuries. Commonly we call it child abuse. So, for example, a child that is less than 1 year that presents with a foreign body ingestion or a foreign body in a funny part of the body, like you find some children present with foreign bodies even in their anus, then you wonder how a small baby would have put a foreign body there. Then that must be a red flag that this child is undergoing abuse. A child that keeps presenting many times, that has had foreign bodies many times, it is also a red flag that there is something. This child is not taking these things on their own. Someone is shoving those foreign bodies into the children. So we must be alert that that is a possibility.
So what are the symptoms that we can look out for, after a child has ingested themselves with a foreign body?
It will depend on which part of the body, but I think I must concentrate on the ones that are swallowed, because they are the ones that are commonest and the ones that are may lead to danger as well. So if the foreign body ends up in the esophagus, then the child cannot swallow saliva, so they will tend to drool saliva. They are continuously drooling saliva because they cannot swallow it. They may even hold their throat to show you that there is pain. They may vomit. They may also present late, because by far most of them are asymptomatic in the first 24 hours. So if they present with complications, then that's when the child may have a fever. The child then may even have a pneumonia from the complications of the foreign body, either having gone into the lungs, or having perforated into the pleura, and then causing even abscesses and like I said again, the child may die suddenly because they've taken a baton battery. Then the battery is in contact with the big blood vessels and corrode into them, and then they just bleed. All their blood volume will come out almost at the same time, so they will just die instantly.
Yeah. So more than anything, it's important for parents to supervise their children when they're playing outside, especially outside.
Exactly. That's the take-home message. Parents must supervise their children. They must keep away all the dangerous objects. And the other object that I did not mention is a coin. The coins must also be kept well away from the children, because they are usually left around the house. The children may take the coin and eat them, and they get stuck again in the esophagus.
Okay. So what are the chances of survival and death, after the child has gone through surgery? How much of them, how many percent of them survive and how many percent die during after a surgery?
The surgery in itself is a very safe kind of surgery. We do what is called an oesophagooscopy. We are not going to cut the child in any way. We are going to put an instrument with a camera into the esophagus and look at the coin or any foreign body directly and retrieve it. What will cause the death of the children is the complications of the foreign bodies. If the parent is late to come to hospital, or at times they do not realize the danger the child is in, they keep children with them. They try their home remedies, and this is not to be recommended. They must present very early so that this is taken out as soon as possible and under safe conditions. And the child is monitored thereafter and discharged. If there are complications, we can also address them at the same time before the child can be discharged.
All right, thanks so much, Doctor, for that information. Lastly, Doctor, where can your patients reach you, your availability at the Mbabane Clinic?
I'm reachable at the Mbabane Clinic every day from 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
And my mobile number is 79350135.
All right, thanks so much, Dr. Shepherd Moforo. That was Dr. Shepherd Moforo from the Mbabane Clinic Beskulmage foreign bodies. These are objects that children, particularly from 1 year upwards, that they ingest through the mouth. Nomage bafake indlebeni noma nasetemphumuleni. Uyagcizelela ke lapha Dr. Moforo ukuthi mangabe uyasola ukuthi umfana kukhona la kumedile kubalekele ukuthi umikise esibhedlela within 6 hours kude atothola lusito lwetempilo. Let's take a break. Start with a traffic update. Welcome back. It's 10 minutes before 7 o'clock. Besicela ukukhuluma na Dokotela webantfwana kahle he's a surgeon lapha eMbabane Clinic. Batali babo noma ke adults nje, particularly stepmothers noma ke step parents sidinga ngetindzaba letentekako la ngaphandle ukhanze ukuthi umfana vele bamfaka ngemabomu. I think he made an example nje ukuthi yendeka ukuthi bawakhanze lama-foreign bodies on the anus of children. Lokho ke bese kuyachaza ukuthi vele cha kunenkinga lekhona and kuba i-abuse ukuthi vele lomfana athi khanze sekanama-foreign bodies. So I think lokhu umconjo uvetile ukuthi it's important ukuthi mangabe umfana sekayimitile whatever noma sekafakile endlebeni aphuthunyiswe esibhedlela within 6 hours.
Yeah, Lulu, I think what I'm picking up is it's an indirect lesson from the conversation that you had. Parenting is not just feeding your kids. It is not just taking care of your kids to provide the basic needs. But nakhuluma they can swallow razor and needles. That is very scary to me. That is because I'm just thinking of a razor and the damage that it does internally. So parenting batalis
supervision
banake basupervise ukuthi umntwana angadle ama-foreign objects. Mina-ke I have my nephew ngihle ngimbona sekadla ama-toys akhe
because children are inquisitive. Bafuna wathi yini lena kwentekani kulo bafuna
batali banake kakhulu bantwana ukuthi badlala ngani kunani futhi lelifutane nabo. I think into efana nema-razor, ama-needles, ama-sharp objects but la small kakube into letikhashana nebantwana.
Yeah, Kunjalo. So there's lots to talk about on the show. We are yet to speak to Esecom's butler, girls in ICT. Njengoba namhlanje kulilanga labo laba kulelu hlangothi bonjinela laba kwetona tekuchumana international girls in ICT. So sitaba simkhulumisa kabanti ngato letindzaba letekuva nje ukuthi ngabe kunjani for emamvombatana in this industry, and of course sisakathe ukuthi sikhulumisane nalabasuka emandini.
Usakhulumisa yona indzaba yebaka Escom Lulu girls in ICT. I think it's a great opportunity the fact that it coincides with the Transform Africa Summit, as the world is trying to digitalize because that is the direction that the world has taken anyway. I think in Ngonyama, we are fortunate to Royal Science and Technology Park, whereby we can benchmark a lot of these technological advancements. And we have it level other innovations within the sector ICT. So certainly looking forward to the conversation with Tanya.
Yeah, all right. So 7 minutes before 7, let's take a break. Start with a traffic update.
Do you remember the spinning thing? This is us. This picture represents what we did. We were there when coronavirus wreaked havoc in our population. Together with other stakeholders, we formed the first line, controlling the spread of the unknown and unseen enemy of the people. Anxious ourselves, we collected dead bodies countrywide. At the time when no one wanted to come near dead bodies of loved ones, we did care for our fellow citizens. Thank you, the people of Eswatini and teams of first responders.
Welcome back. Lesikhathi sidabuka simo semgwaqo naNdombenhle Fakuthe, Constable Ndombenhle Fakuthe asivusele emntolelo mhla ekseni. Ingabe kuhambeka kanjani emgwaqweni?
Ngikuvusele Makagula, ngivusele naye umbukeli weKusile breakfast show. Imigwaqo yelivela kaNgwane sesihlolile cishe yonkhana. Imigwaqo leminengi iyahambeka, tikhona tikhinyabeto letikhona lokufaka ekhathi tigotsi noma ke ema-potholes lakhona emgwaqweni. Kepha-ke angeke amende umshayeli noma loyo losebenzisa umgwaqo ukuthi angakhoni kufika lapho aphokophele kufika khona. Emadolobha elive siwahlolile, tibane temgwaqo siyasebenta tonke ngalokufanele ngaphandle kwelidolobha lelikhulu laseMbabane, la khona tibane temgwaqo lesilapha ekuphumeni eSuper Spa nato lesilapha eMangwaneni tingasebenzi. Nje bashayeli abachubeke basibambise nangabe tibane temgwaqo tingasebenzi lofike kuqala ahambe kuqala kuze kuthi sigweme kona kwenteka kwato tingoti kuto tibane temgwaqo. Umgwaqo noma ke sitaladi lesingomhlolo road lesisuka khona edolobheni siye Escort solo sivaliwe, kulandzela kona ukuthi lo mgwaqo loyo solo uyakhiwa. Sisinje bashayeli abachubeke basebenzise letinye tindlela nabangena khona ekhathi edolobheni baqhamuka khona kubosibashini kuze ukuthi bangatikhanzise babambelelekile. Umgwaqo lomkhulu osuka ehekeni laseNgwenya ubheke khona kaManzini lokufaka ekhathi naye eMalagwane uyahambeka nyalo ekseni kude sikhinyabeto lesikhona lapho. Kanti-ke nakumathapha ekhathi edolobheni sihlolile nakhona lesikunaka konje ngetithuba tasekuseni bantu labaningi labahamba ngetinyawo siyathi malangeni lamahle kwekuthi bantu baningi kakhulu lapha kwathi sephela kwekuthi babheke khona emisebentini emafemini lokwenta kwekuthi ngalesinye isikhathi bagcine sebangasakhoni kudedelana kuwo ema-pavement la kufanele bahambe khona. Ukhanzeke lesinye isikhathi sebangena khona ekhathi emgwaqweni. Siyakhuthaza nje nakubo labahamba ngetimotolo kwekuthi liso labo lihlale libanakile labo labahamba ngetinyawo ngoba ukhanza sebangena ekhathi emgwaqweni kulesinye isikhathi. Lama letinye-ke tifundza sihloliwe kude lokusikhinyabeto lokungakanani sesingakubika ngato. Ngale kwaloko Thombeni naye umbukeli weKusile breakfast show, imigwaqo elivela kaNgwane iyahambeka ngaphandle nje kwaloku lesengikushito kungaba kufisela yena umbukeli besuku loluhle naloluphephile basetawusebenzisa yona imigwaqo elivela kaNgwane.
Asibakhulu Constable Ndombenhle kusiniketa loyo mbiko kusele imizuzu lemibili kuthishaya insimbi yesikhombisa sithatha salikhefu nasibuya siyibuka tindzaba tangephandle.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3 hash and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Good morning and welcome back. It's 7 o'clock. Let's take a look at international news. Tuesday, 25th April marks World Malaria Day, an appointment to turn the spotlight onto the global effort to try to wipe out the deadly disease. It disproportionately affects sub-Saharan Africa, where 95% of the world's cases are found. About one African child dies of malaria every minute, but there has been enormous progress in preventing and treating it. Gabon and other countries in the region are hoping to be malaria-free in under a decade.
The Spore neighborhood near Libreville's prison is a malaria hotspot. Campaigners trying to raise awareness of how to prevent the deadly disease have started their cleanup campaign here.
We urge the population to emulate the exercise we're carrying out today. They should do it every day. If we don't do it, our mothers, our children will be exposed to malaria.
Professor Ategbo is the Help Center Coordinator at the Mother and Child University Teaching Hospital in Libreville, a pilot center which offers free testing for malaria. It also offers medical care for malaria to children up to 5 years old. This morning, Professor Ategbo is busy with consultations.
Malaria is the primary cause for consultations in children. About 12% of children who come here have malaria. The important thing here and the message we're trying to convey is that malaria is dangerous, especially for children.
After a rapid test, infected children are given artemisinin-based treatments. Artemisinin is a group of drugs used in the treatment of malaria. They are part of the National Anti-Malaria Program. The goal is to eradicate malaria in Gabon by 2030. But to do that takes money. After a 15-year ban from receiving funding for the treatment of malaria, Gabon got a whopping 4 billion francs CFA from the World Health Organization to fight tuberculosis, HIV/AIDS, and malaria.
In our country, malaria is one of the biggest expenses for hospitals. We have to invest money and resources if we want to achieve our 2030 goals.
The national program for the fight against malaria has helped infection rates drop from 110 to 62 in every 1,000 inhabitants between 2019 and 2020. Though encouraging, experts say there is still a critical lack of funding holding back anti-malaria efforts.
Since fighting broke out on April 15, multiple foreign governments have frantically organized road convoys, aircraft and ships to get thousands of their nationals out of Sudan, and citizens have fled overland to neighboring countries.
Tensions high in Sudan's capital as the conflict between the army and RSF paramilitary shows no signs of abating. There are fears security will worsen amid reports from the army that allies of the former President Omar al-Bashir were released from jail. Residents who've remained in Khartoum say all they want is peace.
We say to the two generals, stop this war and find a real solution, or else Sudan will completely collapse and all Sudanese will be displaced. Everyone left and fled.
Stop this war. We're peaceful civilians, simply looking to work. And we ask those in power to feel for us. You will not be in power forever. Do something now that will benefit the future.
The fighting in Sudan broke out on the 15th of April. The violence has resulted in power cuts across much of the country, causing many hospitals to shut down. International evacuations from neighboring countries began this past Sunday, and those who've made it out have harrowing stories to tell.
No water for 9 days. Can you imagine that? We had to go sneak the roads to go to some place where there is dirty water. We had to bring house and use it for cooking or drinking or whatever.
The 72-hour ceasefire underway is due to expire late Thursday. There are fears the violence between the warring sides is set to escalate once the evacuation of foreign nationals is complete.
China says it wants to act as a mediator in the Russia's war on Ukraine. Both Chinese leader Xi Jinping and Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed they spoke by phone on Wednesday, a conversation Kyiv has been asking for.
Amid Russian shelling and destruction in eastern Ukraine, China surprised the world Wednesday with this announcement.
The Chinese side will send a special representative of the Chinese government on Eurasian affairs to visit Ukraine and other countries to conduct in-depth communication with all parties for a political settlement of the Ukrainian crisis.
China made several public announcements Wednesday, calling attention to its diplomatic initiative toward Ukraine, saying that Chinese leader Xi Jinping spoke with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Zelensky had been asking to speak with Xi and took to Twitter to welcome the conversation. In Washington, White House National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby welcomed the news of the leaders' conversation, saying it's important for President Xi and PRC officials to avail themselves of the Ukrainian perspective on this illegal and unprovoked invasion by Russia. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said that Moscow sees broad concord with China's approach, but that the main obstacle is what she termed Kyiv's unrealistic demands. She visited Moscow in March. Beijing has refused to condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine or demand withdrawal of its troops, instead calling for restraint by all parties and accusing NATO of fomenting the fighting. This leaves most foreign policy experts skeptical that China can play the peacemaker. Michael Kimmage of the Catholic University of America told VOA there was no way China was offering a useful diplomatic framework for ending this conflict.
It's going to play a role in Ukraine's reconstruction, and it's a big economic actor, and it's a major country. But it's not as if China is, for the time being and for the foreseeable future, any kind of realistic alternative to any of the actors in the war itself.
Kimmage said there are economic factors at play.
China and Ukraine had a pretty substantial economic relationship before the war. I believe that China was Ukraine's largest trading partner, and China has a network of economic interest in the region, not just in Ukraine, but in the broader region.
Meanwhile, jailed Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny said Wednesday he could face life in prison on terrorism charges, with authorities preparing a major new trial against him. Human rights organizations and Western governments are calling for his release, saying the charges against him are absurd.
The United States and South Korea signed a landmark agreement on Wednesday that gives Seoul a greater decision-making role in the U.S. contingency planning against a possible North Korean nuclear attack in exchange for Seoul agreeing not to pursue its own nuclear weapons program.
President Joe Biden affirmed the U.S. commitment to defend against North Korean aggression as he welcomed South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol for a pomp-filled state visit, just the second such visit of his administration.
Look, a nuclear attack by North Korea against the United States or its allies or partisans or partners is unacceptable and will result in the end of whatever regime were to take such an action. And it's about strengthening deterrence in response to the DPRK's escalatory behavior and the deal on complete consultation.
Pyongyang has greatly increased its missile launch activities this year and last, the United Nations says. Under the new Washington Declaration, the two allies will bolster defenses against Pyongyang. The United States will set up a nuclear consultative group to allow greater information sharing and give Seoul a greater voice in deliberations over U.S. weapons deployment. In return, Seoul will maintain its non-nuclear status in accordance with the Non-Proliferation Treaty it ratified in 1975. Yoon on Wednesday welcomed the agreement.
In the event of North Korea's nuclear attack, and promised to respond swiftly, overwhelmingly, and decisively using the full force of the alliance, including the United States nuclear weapons.
Biden said the two presidents also discussed security beyond the Korean peninsula.
We discussed our work together on promoting peace and stability in the Taiwan Straits, ensuring freedom of navigation in the South China Sea and beyond. Excuse me. I also affirmed our shared commitment. We together shared our shared commitment to stand with the people of Ukraine against Russia's brutal assault on their freedom, their territorial integrity, and democracy.
The U.S. and South Korea have been allies since the end of the Korean War 70 years ago. But analysts say there are questions in South Korea about the strength and credibility of the agreement.
It takes off the table the possibility of any kind of South Korean development of an indigenous nuclear capability. And it really bolsters the idea that the U.S. and South Korea are going to address North Korea together. But it does run a little bit against the trend line of a South Korean public debate in which concerns about U.S. credibility and concerns about South Korean vulnerability have led to pretty high public support for the idea that South Korea needs to be able to defend itself from a nuclear North Korea on its own.
But Snyder added, the potential for cooperation continues to grow, including in space. On Tuesday, Yoon and Vice President Kamala Harris explored the two nations' growing ties in space exploration and security with a tour of a NASA facility near Washington. That's a sign, he said, that this partnership may go to a new frontier.
A British tobacco company has agreed to pay more than $629 million to settle charges it sold cigarette materials to North Korea for years in violation of U.S. sanctions.
It's the largest violation of U.S. sanctions on North Korea. Products made by global company British American Tobacco found their way into the Hermit Kingdom. The U.S. Department of Justice said the scheme violated U.S. bank fraud laws.
British American Tobacco and its subsidiary engaged in an elaborate scheme to circumvent U.S. sanctions and sell tobacco products to North Korea through a corporate cutout in Singapore. This conduct, which will be explained more by my colleague Matt Graves, was in clear violation of our bank fraud laws and the International Emergency Economic Powers Act.
Between 2007 and 2017, British American Tobacco sold products to North Korea via a third-party company. The company earned $428 million in trade, the equivalent of 390 million euros, which was then sent back to British American Tobacco via payments made through US banks. BAT allegedly pulled out of the scheme in 2016 due to increased sanctions on Pyongyang, but continued to sell cigarettes to North Korea's embassy in Singapore. Its CEO expressed his regrets for having conducted the business.
We deeply regret the misconduct arising from historical business activities that led to these settlements, and acknowledge that we fell short of the highest standards rightly expected of us.
Smuggled tobacco products are some of the main revenue sources for North Korea's nuclear programs. The country also earned $700 million from trade with a parallel leaf tobacco ring. One North Korean banker and two Chinese nationals smuggled leaf tobacco to cigarette makers, processing $74 million of payments through the U.S. banking system. The three are wanted by the U.S. State Department and have a €4.5 million bounty on their heads.
Showing up at the wrong front door, driving into the wrong driveway, retrieving a basketball from an angry neighbor's yard. These are some of the scenarios that led to people being shot this month in the United States. Gun control activists say the shootings show that the U.S. needs stricter laws on who can buy a firearm.
These are some of the victims who were at the wrong place at the wrong time and met gunfire as a consequence. 20-year-old Kaylin Gillis was shot dead by 65-year-old Kevin Monahan when she and her friends ventured by car too close to his home in New York.
My daughter was an honors student. She had hopes and dreams of becoming... a marine biologist or a veterinarian. And this man took that away from us.
Monahan has been charged with murder.
There was actually no interaction between Mr. Monahan and the occupants of any of the vehicles. They had realized they were at the wrong place. They turned around to leave, and that's when the shots were fired.
84-year-old Andrew Lester has been charged with first-degree assault for shooting 16-year-old Ralph Yarl, who showed up at his front door in Kansas City, Missouri. Lester says he thought the teen was breaking into his house. Yarl's attorney says Yarl went to the wrong residence by mistake to retrieve his younger siblings.
Mind you, touching the door in and of itself wouldn't be enough to justify the use of deadly force. But Ralph rang the doorbell and waited quietly outside until the door was open. It took a while because obviously Mr. Lester was retrieving his weapon, but Ralph did not try to enter that home.
And 6-year-old Kinsley White became a target with her father while trying to retrieve an errant basketball from a neighbor's yard. Her shooter has been arrested.
Why did you shoot my daddy and me?
Gun violence, including unprovoked attacks, is getting worse, say gun control advocates, and stricter laws are needed.
Some of the policies that have evidence behind them are things that involve addressing what happens at the point of sale or preventing certain folks from getting firearms, and that could be expanded background checks or waiting periods or requiring a license to purchase a firearm.
Gun advocates bemoan the recent shootings, but hold firm to their Second Amendment constitutional right to bear firearms.
It's a pretty good amendment. It allows me to, locally here personally, it allows me to have the best firearm that I want to defend myself and my family.
Gun advocates say Americans want to protect themselves and not rely solely on police. Meantime, the shootings don't stop.
And in Spain, scorching temperatures are set to break records for April, a week of unprecedented heat on the way, bringing with it concerns over the country's water reserves and warnings of wildlife.
Here in Andalusia, many locals are sticking to the shade as they prepare for what could be the hottest day on record in April. According to forecasters, Spain could experience temperatures of up to 40 degrees Celsius later this week, temperatures that are normally seen in July.
We have to prepare ourselves because in the month that we're in April, these temperatures are something unusual.
Sheltering at home and staying there, that's the way to go.
The heat wave arrives after what has been the driest March in 2 decades in some areas. The country is now officially experiencing a long-term drought after 3 years of high temperatures and little rainfall. The drought is affecting 60% of the Spanish countryside. A farmers' association says that this is causing irreversible losses to over 3.5 million hectares of crops. Some will not sow any seeds for certain crops this year, as they know that they won't withstand the conditions. This is the case for Eduardo Canuto, who grows rice near Seville. Here, the fields should be green and damp, but instead the ground is cracked and dry.
The situation is alarming. This season is very complicated because we're not going to be able to sow rice. In the last 2 years, we've lost more than 80,000 tons because of poor water quality. Today, the situation is very difficult.
On Tuesday, Spain's agriculture minister said that he had requested €450 million of aid from the EU to help farmers cope.
Artificial intelligence could potentially transform arts and entertainment from music to movies, but it's also raising concerns. Is AI a creative tool or a threat to creators and artists?
German artist Boris Eldagson won a prestigious Sony World Photography Award in March, but turned it down, admitting that his entry was not a photograph, but an AI-generated image. He said he hoped to start a discussion. AI tools such as ChatGPT can also write a story, says AI researcher Jonathan May at the University of Southern California.
Coherent story for the most part, but not particularly a very interesting story. I think if I was, I'm not an editor of fiction or anything like that, but from what I've seen, the fiction that comes out from these models is not anything that I would ever pay to have published.
Another AI researcher whose hobby is comedy includes an AI robot in his London-based improvisational troupe called Improbotics.
I was really pleased that you wanted to see me again.
We are going to the zoo. He says AI is impressive, but does not understand context as human performers do.
It doesn't know how many people are in the room. It doesn't know if someone is crying.
And he says AI often produces mediocre content when it replaces a performer or a writer.
And the question now is, but why do you need a ghostwriter? I mean, why don't you just write it yourself?
But people want to explore the boundaries between humans and machines. At Britain's University of Southampton, musicians combine AI-generated themes with improvised jazz. An Emmy Award-winning composer who has served as music director for 2 Olympic Games says AI can produce background music for game shows, for example.
The criteria is not that it be brilliantly unique. The idea is that it have energy, or that it has humor, or that it is conveying the right emotion.
He says AI can create that, but AI tools lack the passion of an artist. Researcher Jonathan May agrees.
They don't have the lived experience. They don't have the traumas and the day-to-day lives and the developing worldview as growing up as a human that we as other humans can relate to.
And they lack the creative spark that hasn't yet been programmed into a computer.
In Uganda, Lura wetland near Lake Victoria is an important aquatic breeding ground, stop for migratory birds and carbon dioxide sink, but sand miners are endangering the already fragile ecosystem.
Every day, these workers load their trucks with sand extracted from the Luara wetland. But their work is putting the fragile ecosystem in danger, and it's flooding nearby residential areas.
Water that used to flow through the river started spilling over into people's houses. Many residents were forced to flee and many houses collapsed. Sand mining is destroying our environment.
Companies are allowed to dig 4 kilometers into the earth, but many trucks have been digging deeper, according to local officials who are frustrated about the lack of regulation by the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA.
Put the blame on NEMA because they give licenses to work in swampy areas to make it legal for works to be done in swampy areas where NEMA would be protecting such environments. Now you find the local council, like local town council, cannot stop these guys because they have all their documents putting them in the area to do their work.
Meanwhile, NEMA insists that polluters are being punished.
Uganda needs sand, and every effort is being made to ensure that the sand is mined in a sustainable manner. If there are any illegalities, we have an express penalty scheme that charges money in billions of Uganda shillings if you're found to be degrading the environment.
Sand is the second most exploited resource in the world after water. In Uganda, the construction industry is demanding an increasing amount of this raw material.
Like every year in April, the Kenyan capital is organizing the 72 Hours of Books. This event brings together writers from the country and the continent, publishers and readers. It is an opportunity to put books on the spotlight in this country where more than half the population is illiterate. Libraries are rare and books are inaccessible.
Libraries in Guinea.
The titles available at the Gamal Abdel Nasser University are mostly scientific and, according to the chief librarian, outdated.
We're in the medical section, urology, pediatrics. We have lots of books on medicine compared to other subjects. To balance things out, the state needs to come to the rescue, along with institutions and donors.
Until then, students have to make do with what is available. El-Aj Siddiqui Kaba is an undergrad physics student.
I do physics, so I need books about electronics that I can't find here, and there is also no digital department.
Guinea has a dozen publishing houses, most of which have limited funds. Bookstores mostly sell works imported from abroad at prices too high for most citizens. A book club in the capital is trying to keep the literary flame alive with twice-monthly meetings. Members are lent books for free and take part in group reading sessions, meaning illiterate people can also enjoy the literature.
Books are very expensive. Those of us from poor backgrounds don't have access to books. That's why we created this club, to help them. The more they read, the more they're able to emancipate themselves.
The National Association of Writers in Guinea have called on the government to invest more in the country's publishing sector.
French bulldogs fit their big personalities in small packages. Their unique blend of energy and cuteness has made them the most popular dog breed in the United States.
According to the American Kennel Club, there's a new favorite dog in the United States, the French Bulldog, dethroning the Labrador, which has been a long-time favorite.
A Frenchie is great for apartment living. They are not a noisy breed. They actually need moderate exercise, just a little bit of walking, and you're good to go.
French Bulldogs have been around since the 1800s. Despite their name, they were originally bred in England and imported to France during the Industrial Revolution. Today, their adaptability for traveling and their playful nature make them ideal companions.
They're super cute, really relaxed and playful when you want them to be.
Oh, they're a really cool, chill dog, like relaxed dog. You know, very fun to have.
But there is a downside to the breed's new popularity. Their increasing visibility and price, which can exceed $6,000, has made them a target for thieves who steal them and sell them on the black market. In 2021, gunmen kidnapped two of Lady Gaga's French bulldogs and shot and seriously injured the person walking them. The singer offered a reward of $500,000 and was able to recover them.
My friend's got his bulldog stolen. Yeah, at gunpoint.
The American Kennel Club says owners should be careful.
We tell people all the time to be vigilant, to make sure you're not putting too much on social media about your dogs. Try walking them at times where it's more highly trafficked, so you don't want to do too early in the morning or too late at night.
Despite the potential headaches and even risks of owning any dog, experts say it's worth it.
What they provide is a feeling of social support, and they not only improve your mood, but they help you not to feel so alone, to give you company, interaction.
Knowing that, it's no surprise the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals notes that nearly 1 in 5 American households adopted a pet during the COVID lockdowns, and 90% of the new pets were dogs.
It's 27 minutes after 7. We've come to the end of international news. Let's take a break. We'll be back shortly. Let's leave you with the weather.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3# and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Minutes after 7, good morning, welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. Now today, the 27th of April, the Eswatini Communications Commission, as a member of the International Telecommunications Union, EITU, joins the world to celebrate the 2023 International Girls in ICT Day. The Girls in ICT program is aimed at creating awareness and to inspire the girl child to pursue studies in ICTs in order to bridge the gender digital divide that exists all over the world. Tanya Butler is here in the studio right now. She is the Support Services Director for the Girls in ICT program within the Commission. Tanya, a very good morning to you. I'm very aware of but it gets to show that you're committed to the work that you do. It's a very good morning. How are you?
Good morning, and thank you for having us, celebrating such an important day in the country as well as globally.
Yeah, talk to me about this day, Tanya. I've tried to, highlight what it is during my introduction of you, but I think you're the right person to give us a insightful explanation of what Girls in ICTs is about, really.
I'll speak to the International Girls in ICT, which is celebrated every April. Mm-hmm. And in 2023, it's celebrated today, which is the 27th of April. The ITU, which is, you've already mentioned, is the International Telecommunications Union. It's a global initiative that is aimed at encouraging and inspiring the girl child to pursue a future or study in STEM-related subjects, particularly in our case, we're speaking to ICT. Yeah. It also focuses on ensuring that the girl child is empowered with the right skills, is empowered with the confidence, as well as the support to ensure that they achieve their goals. Yeah. Worldwide or globally, we've seen that there's a major disparity between the uptake of STEM-related subjects between the girl child and the boy child, which is why the world has made it an urgent need for all of us to make deliberate efforts to bridge the gap to ensure the girl child is represented also in the workplace in as far as ICT careers are concerned.
Tanya, very well put there, and I think, as you speak about deliberate efforts to, bridge this digital divide, the Transform Africa Summit started a day ago in Harare, Zimbabwe, and we see world leaders, particularly African world leaders there, coming together to speak on policies that can further improve the ecosystem and rather the digitalization in Africa. And I think that is one of the most important things, because nothing can happen without these policies that will see to it that girls participate as well. I want us to bring it home now, but before that, let's talk about the theme for this year, digital skills for life. What does that mean? What is digital skills for life?
This year's theme is digital skills for life, which in research it's shown that one of the barriers for the girl child to access STEM-related fields or careers is the lack of skills. So we're going back to the basics to say we need to then empower the girl child or everyone now globally in as far as digital skills is concerned. What are digital skills? How do you get them? What does it mean It's just so that then you can understand how then it can help in the entire ecosystem as you go forward. So
Yeah.
basically that's what it's about, to ensure that everyone understands what it is, understands how it can impact your life. Today, most of our activities are embedded around technology.
Right.
And without the necessary skills, it becomes difficult for, particularly today, we're speaking to the girl child, it's difficult for then the girl child to harness any ICT related, I'll speak to career, I'll speak to even use of internet and mobile devices, because it all speaks to that. So it's just to ensure that that skill is harnessed at a very early age, to ensure that now going forward, the girl child can then understand how to move forward with that skill in as far as career is concerned.
Yeah, and I can agree with you that it has to be really, taken into consideration at an early age, as you put it. And I'm saying this because as someone that went into a university of technology, just looking at the ICT, or rather the information technology courses. My friend is an IT guy. Most of my mates are IT guys, actually. It is so rare that there are women in those classes. And like you have said, it's a systemic inequality, and I suppose it starts at grassroots level. They need to be, encouraged at grassroots level. You are the support services director for the Girls in ICT program in the country. Just talk to me about what the program entails in the country. What are some of, the works that you do in making sure that it is visible, and what is it really that you do?
ESCCOM has made taken an initiative last year, I think 2021, we launched the Girls in ICT Scholarship Program. This was one, again, of the deliberate efforts that the Commission has made to try and bridge this gap. The scholarship program, it targets the girl child. I think we've pegged it that the maximum age would be 24 years.
Okay.
To encourage and maybe inspire the girl child to take up a future in an ICT related profession. We are providing funding, because one of, again, the leading factors to the gender digital divide is not being able to attend school, or also not being aware of the activities that are there in as far as ICT is concerned. Today, which is the International Girls in ICT Day, it's also there to showcase some of the careers and that you can take up in ICT to really open up the market, and to open up the minds in as far as where such careers can take you. So basically the scholarship program is to enable the girl child to pursue such careers, especially the girl child that comes from disadvantaged backgrounds, to ensure that also they are represented now in the workplace in as far as such career fields are concerned.
Yeah, let's talk about the scholarship program. I think that is one of the most interesting, at least for me, initiatives that you are doing as ESCCOM to make sure that STEM-related, fields has an uptake, especially in Eswatini. Talk to me about this scholarship program. Really, how many students do you support right now, and where would you like to improve going forward?
The program started last year, 2021, and we sponsored a girl child who was going to study a BSc IT at the University of Pretoria.
Wow.
2022 is the second child that we are going to sponsor, who is going to study at UNESWA. The biggest maybe difficulty that we experience is the overwhelming response to the scholarship program in Eswatini. We receive hundreds of applications for for one scholarship.
Right.
It becomes incredibly difficult for the panel that would be screening these applications, because you find quite a number of these girls did exceptionally well in high school, and for maybe to receive 300 to 500 applications for one scholarship, it really proves to be difficult, and it also shows the extent now to which the interest in STEM is concerned. So it would just be that difficulty that we have, and maybe going forward we would need to strengthen our partnerships with maybe the private sector to ensure maybe that we offer more than one scholarship. Also, that way the impact that we want to see will be realized much faster than the one sponsorship or scholarship program that we currently have.
Yeah, you know, I'm just thinking about it. We can decide to look at it from a glass half empty perspective and say, you know what, overwhelming applications just for one scholarship. You're talking about hundreds and hundreds. But at the same time, the glass half full perspective says the uptake is really there. So the program is visible nationally. People can see that this is what you're offering. And again, in what you're saying, you know, compelling and rather encouraging to work with more private sector players, you know, development partner stakeholders in advancing this initiative. I appeal with you right now. I think it's an opportunity to appeal to private sector and you know, other players to help you guys, you know, further advance this initiative. Talk to me about, you know, as you continue to work with this program to advance STEM related, you know, fields in Eswatini, outside of the scholarship program. Are there other programs that you're looking to, you know, to make sure that they are born to advance this initiative for girls in ICT?
One of the Eswatini Communication Commission's core mandate is to ensure that everyone in Eswatini has access to communication services.
Yeah.
And through the Universal Access and Service Fund, that is where we identify schools where we provide the gadgets in terms of laptops and so forth to ensure that now the child has the gadget to be able to get the digital skills that we're talking about. And then also we, through that fund, we put up sites to ensure that there's network coverage. And that one speaks to the access aspect of things, that there's the access to the internet, there's access to a number of things, which with the gadget that speaks to now the digital skills that needs to be acquired. So the UAS program not really focused on the girl child, but it ensures access as well as the mobile devices are there to ensure that the programs such as these ones, we know at least there's something that is happening around the topic.
Yeah, and certainly I can attest to that myself. I think it was on the 13th of April, it was a Thursday. The Ministry of Education and Training was launching the Learning Passport.
Yes.
And CEO, Mr. Mbilawa Mpidlamini, was there. He delivered quite, you know, an exciting speech looking forward to, you know, what the country's potential has in terms of advancing ICT in the country. But also, like you're saying, providing gadgets. I saw him also presenting a few gadgets to students from different tertiary institutions as well as high school students. So I think that should be applauded. As we continue to talk about you know, this important initiative that you have in the country in advancing girls in ICT, what are some of the glaring inequalities causes that you see in Eswatini, that you feel like if we address the causes, I believe addressing the problem is the first thing to you know, coming up with a great solution?
There's a number of those factors that cause the inequalities in as far as gender in the digital space is concerned. I think this one would speak to, it's a global issue where it speaks to the stereotypes that exist that say the boy child is probably going to do better in math than the girl child. And it's those stereotypes that then also cause that disparity. It also speaks to uneven access to education, where you find that maybe the boy child is given priority over the girl child in certain instances. I think also poverty and social discrimination, it also does, it has an impact on it. Also, maybe lastly, I can speak to the perception.
I think perception is the most,
perception where because of them being male dominated, and then it's like, no, that's a male field and a girl cannot.
Times have changed.
And times have changed. We have to move with the time. So there's a number of the factors that cause the inequalities, but I think I'll mention those for now.
Can we please break down STEM, because as you talk about perception, there's a misconception that when we speak about girls in ICT, that can be a bit misleading, you know, to the general layman. Because when you speak about ICT, people leave out engineering, they leave out mathematics, and they just focus on IT, like software and hardware. Let's break it down. STEM, what does that say?
STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It's a wide spectrum of careers and professions that would come out from the STEM field, where we are saying, yes, there also has to be female representation in STEM in itself. But because of the space that we are in, which is ICT, we are particularly focusing on ICT. ICT is not only information technology or informatics and robotics and cybersecurity only. It also does include the engineering part of it, because all those are supported by a backhand engineer that is going to ensure that the systems are up, the network is up, and so forth. So I think maybe also going forward, there is need to break it down so that also we can have an understanding of what it is that we really, really mean when we speak to STEM, particularly ICT, just so that we can understand. Because if you speak to medicine, medicine is STEM, but it's not particularly ICT.
Got you.
Yeah.
Tanya, thank you so much for joining us. Anything the Commission is doing today to celebrate this day, or we are looking at the Transform Africa Summit? I know there's a joint celebration there.
We have through our social media pages, and I think on the print media today, we have an article that where there's a statement by the acting chief executive on what ESCOM's position in as far as this day is concerned. We also have testimonials from the girls in ICT in the office who are speaking to their career path and experiences, and also just a statement to encourage and inspire the girl child who's out there wanting or wishing to pursue that career. We will not celebrate the day today as we usually have before. We're waiting for schools to open, and then we have a whole program planned that will be communicated when the time comes, where then we'll then actually celebrate the day. We will then also introduce the girl that has gotten the scholarship in 2023, which is the second one, and also just to showcase the initiatives that as ESCOM are really making deliberate efforts to ensure representation of the girl child, to ensure access of all Eswatini to communication services and so forth.
Tanya, and I think you know they are very deliberate. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, Tanya Butler, she's the Support Services Director for the Girls in ICT program within the Eswatini Communications Commission in Eswatini, and I love how she's eloquently telling us about this program. And the fact that she's female speaks to the fact that they are being deliberate in, you know, in advancing this initiative, in sustaining the interest, and to track the Girls in ICT program. Thank you so much for staying with us. Let's take a quick ad break. When we return, we speak to Balindile Masilela. She is the Communications and Marketing Manager at Metsi Group Emandini Bohos. Don't go away. 9 minutes before 8. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Good morning. We are still with Balindile Masilela now joining us. As I mentioned when we started the show, she's the Emandini Boreholes Marketing and Communications Manager. Balindile, a very good morning. I think babukele makhaya bajabula kakhulu nababona wena because wena utalana ubathembise ema prizes. You know, I want us to recap on the competition before we get into what we're going to talk about today. There's an opportunity. This is your camera. Remind the viewer at home that you have a competition that's running and how they can participate in this competition.
Sanbanan Babugele Wakaya. It's just to mention 3 of them.
Yeah. Just
yes.
3 questions. 3 very easy answers. If I was allowed to participate, now the prize, then I encourage you to participate in this competition and win yourself this awesome prize. Balindile, very happy to have you back. We're talking about drilling methods. I think Naskuluma borehole. Sibuka emanzi, sibuka ingwele, siphambe emanzi, sibuka emanzi langena emathangeni. There's a science behind it, a whole science behind it. The other day, good see you also want to bring the technical team here that will explain the things down to a science. But namuhla sisakhuluma ngayo ama drilling methods. I think kungaba nje kungitshela the first step to a successful borehole drilling.
The first step to a successful borehole drilling is the survey. Lena Lito in participate in the competition. Good survey if it's impact Hamasibo, Tamandesta follow-up. But pins and allo survey if figure Abuga Guti, each hack it okona in Goma, because a drill rig is cool and it comes with a compressor, lofaga lomoya coop. So don't get it for the melestibu guti te accommodate in like that sites la because mbugel maybe angati kalaning kupele emvagwen but sektabal kunguti itrack ime and the logo pinze dabai disadvantages mas kupago fam sekpuma mandi tsaga sektopinze ngolise lambe wenhle mbugel.
And I suppose that's one of nasingathi lama steps onke siwa break it down ngema price. It should be one of the most expensive ones. Isn't it? And the fact that you're offering it as a prize for a participant is great. Talk to me about the drilling methods themselves. Ahlukana kanjani?
For my drilling methods, there's the hand auger. The hand auger drilling method in Lapokona. It requires it's not like lalamanye bo sludging tripod moving javele go hand the handle up and down or around and then there's also the rotary drilling method rig. It requires less human effort, so it's very easy to use and it's more advantageous because you are gonna go driller even deeper. Yes.
You said there are 4. I think you've mentioned 3. There should be one last one.
Oh, and the percussion drilling method. La poge, percussion is sivamse bavamise 10 because it's but solo by 7 is about Pakistan the method. kuba ne bamboo, but there was senisi bamboo, and then just right next to la batrila khona kuba ne reservoir yemandi. La mandi la aphinza ngene la khathe emgodini phinza aphume, so it's like rotating, circulating.
Yeah, ecosystem right next to the bamboo.
Yes, right next to the bamboo.
Yeah. So then just compare, the comparison of these methods you've highlighted, with some of them are quite archaic and quite old school. Let's talk about the newer ones. Which ones do you use? Which ones do you use as Emandini boreholes? And how efficient are these methods? And apply efficient, for
Emandini boreholes, we use the rotary drilling method because tiningla sendisa khona le rig yefu and le compressor. The rig I seventy without the compressor because kuzudrille you need compressed air. La ngena khona ke le compressor. So Emandini boreholes, we use that method. Njengoba nibona babukela imishini yethu mkhulu kakhulu njengoba ubona like ngishito ekuqaleni ukuthi ma survey amele sibuke tonke letimvo ukuthi umshini wethu utohlala njani. And with rotary drilling, like I said before, it's very advantageous because we are connect driller good day limit to driller to which depth. Kuya njenga ukuthi umshini wethu driller to because iyahlukana le machine yokugubha ukuthi I driller maximum lengaka. Yes, so
okay, you want to add something?
Yes.
Yeah, keep going.
So with rotary drilling, it's something that is used nowadays because of the ecosystem of siyashintsha. So kanzi tsemanda apholakala ifutane, sapholakala khashane, so ngilangena khona le rotary drilling method.
Yeah, one last time. I always like to give you this opportunity to advertise. For people to request for a quote, how do they get in touch with you? And I hopefully we'll see that graphic mobile. I know we have it.
So if umbukela ekhaya interested kudrilla emandi, angasithola ema-ofisini ethu e-Esther House, phinde angasikhulumisa ka-WhatsApp inombolo entethu, and phinde on Facebook. We're always there on Facebook. We're always there to answer my questions embukeli ekhaya. And if ever ngathi I need further details, we are khona kufika office.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming to the show. Not to number getting chances. They can see the numbers. We don't have to, go to spell it out. But pass already. I'm sure number. So 58 minutes after 7, 2 minutes before 8. But let Margaret, when we return, we wrap up the show with Lungalele. Don't go anywhere. Before, in fact, it's just a minute before 8. It has been a great show, an informative show. Lungalele, Sibuya Pikukulmisa, the clinic group that were very informative and shocking at the same time. Manfana Bangamit MRAs and and again, we take this opportunity to encourage Batali Gutsi as Nisa parent, Abanvabe, Niba supervise and keep Liso, Leli, Daubakats available. Banga bit done and did not find it.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much for joining us today. Sit and Banaxas, Niben and Langalele. We'll see you tomorrow.